In the quiet town of Brimwood, where mist curled around street lamps like soft gray fingers, people often spoke in hushed voices about a boy named Liar Hale. He was small, pale, and barely 10 years old, yet every dawn he walked through the town square with 3 enormous black wolves trotting silently beside him. Their eyes glowed amber in the morning fog, their movements precise, protective, almost military. Nobody knew where the wolves had come from. Nobody knew where the boy lived. But everyone agreed on one thing: nothing about Liar was ordinary. I share new stories here every day, and I would really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Now, let's jump back into my story. I'm sure you'll love it if you keep listening till the end. The first time people noticed him was during a cold November morning. Shopkeepers opening their doors froze as Liar passed by. The wolves walked in a perfect triangle formation, 1 in front, 2 flanking behind like loyal guardians. Liar said nothing. He never did. Not even when someone tried greeting him. He simply lowered his gaze and kept walking, his small hand brushing lightly against the led wolf's neck. Rumors spread quickly. Some said the wolves were escaped military canines south. Some said they were wild beasts tamed by magic. Others whispered stories of curses, abandoned children, or secret experiments. But no one had answers. Not even the local sheriff, Mara Kendricks, who had tried speaking to the boy multiple times. Each time, the wolves positioned themselves between them, silent, steady, and unblinking. One winter morning, a stranger arrived in town. His name was Jonas Mercer, a wildlife behaviorist with a reputation for solving unusual animal cases. He had been hired by the county after countless calls from Brimwood claiming a child was walking wolves like pets. When Jonas first spotted Liar, he stopped dead in his tracks. The wolves weren't behaving like wild animals at all. They didn't sniff around. They didn't bark or growl. They were watching, scanning rooftops, shadows, cars, and alleyways as if expecting danger. That wasn't instinct. That was training. Jonas followed at a distance, taking notes. He watched how Liar whispered to the wolves occasionally, how they responded instantly, how they seemed to understand more than ordinary animals. But then Jonas noticed something stranger. Every time Liar reached the old abandoned train station, the wolves stiffened. Their hackles rose, their gazes fixed on the rusted loading bay door. Even Liar hesitated before pulling them away. Jonas whispered to himself, "What happened here?" That night, unable to sleep, he returned to the station. As he searched the area, he found claw marks, fresh ones carved deep into the metal. Something powerful had tried to get inside or get out. A chill crawled up his spine. The next morning, Jonas tried approaching Liar again. And this time, unexpectedly, Liar stopped. He raised his hand just a little. The wolves froze. Jonas swallowed. "Liar, I'm not here to hurt you." The boy's voice was soft, almost broken. "You can't help me. No one can." Jonas knelt down. "Why not?" Before Liar could answer, the wolves growled low. Warning, dangerous. Something was watching them. Something in the fog behind the parked cars. A shadow moved. A heavy thud. A breath not human. The wolves closed ranks around Liar instantly. Jonas backed away, fear twisting in his gut. Whatever haunted this boy wasn't just mystery. It was danger. Something alive, something hunting, and Liar Hale was hiding much more than 3 wolves. He was hiding a secret that would soon turn. Brimwood upside down. The fog in Brimwood grew thicker that week, clinging to windows and chimneys like wet cotton. People walked faster, kept their doors locked, and whispered that something in the mist was watching them. But only one person truly knew the truth: Liar Hale, the silent boy with the 3 black wolves. Every night when the town slept, Liar slipped out through the woods behind the abandoned train station. And each night, the wolves followed him like shadows stitched to his heels. I share new stories here every day, and I would really appreciate it. You hit subscribe and liked my video? On the fourth night of the fog, Jonas Mercer parked his Jeep at the edge of the pine forest. He had been watching Liar for days, trying to understand the strange bond between the boy and the wolves. But tonight felt different. The air pulsed with tension, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Jonas stepped out quietly. He heard soft footsteps ahead Liar's. The wolves padded beside him, their bodies tense, ears flicking at every sound. Jonas kept his distance, but he couldn't ignore what he saw next. Liar walked directly to the old loading bay door of the abandoned station, the same place Jonas had seen fresh claw marks. He hesitated, then placed his small hand on the cold metal. The wolves growled in unison. Jonas felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Liar," he whispered carefully. "You shouldn't be out here." The boy turned, eyes wide but determined. "You shouldn't be either." Before Jonas could reply, a deep vibration rolled through the ground like a growl, but much heavier. The wolves' fur bristled. Their eyes glowed brighter, ready to fight. Jonas froze. "What is that?" Liar swallowed hard. "It's why I can't go home. Why they stay with me?" The metal door trembled, something heavy slamming against it from the inside. Dust rained from the roof. Jonas stumbled back, adrenaline surging. Then came the sound, a howl so sharp, so ancient, so full of rage that it sliced through the night like a blade. Not a wolf. Not anything Jonas had ever heard. The wolves pressed close to Liar, forming a protective circle. The lead wolf Fashion lifted his head and answered with a howl of his own, deep and commanding. The other two followed, their voices joining his in a defiant chorus. Jonas clamped his hands over his ears. "What are they doing?" Liar whispered, "They're warning it, telling it I'm not alone." The station door shook again violently. A dent bulged outward as metal screeched. Something inside was pushing hard, desperate to break free. Jonas backed toward a tree. "We need to call the sheriff." Liar shook his head. "She can't stop it." "No one can. My father tried, and it killed him." The words hit Jonas like a hammer. "What killed him?" Liar's voice cracked. "A creature my father was supposed to contain. A creature that hunts me because I'm the last one who knows how to keep it locked away." Jonas stared at him, stunned. "You're just a child. Why would it hunt you?" Liar looked down. "Because I'm not just a child. I'm the one my father trained. The wolves were his partners. They're the only reason I'm still alive." Before Jonas could speak, the metal door exploded outward with a deafening crash. A massive shape lunged through the opening, dark, fast, monstrous. Jonas saw claws reflecting the moonlight, eyes glowing sickly white, breath steaming like smoke. The wolves charged instantly, brave, furious, fearless. Lior yelled. "Ashen, flank left. Naira, down. Voss, guard Jonas." Jonas froze in disbelief. The wolves moved exactly as commanded, striking with terrifying precision. Ashen darted forward, teeth flashing. Naira leaped sideways to distract the creature. Voss pushed Jonas back with his shoulder, forcing him to retreat. But the creature was stronger, so much stronger, it swiped at Ashen, sending him tumbling across the dirt. Naira darted forward, biting its leg, but the beast slammed her into a wall. Liar cried out, running toward his fallen wolves. Jonas grabbed him. "Liar, stop. It'll kill you." Liar shook free, tears streaming. "It already took everything from me. I won't let it take them too." The creature turned toward the boy, its eyes locked on him, and Jonas understood the truth. Liar wasn't being protected by the wolves. He was leading them into battle. The creature's pale eyes fixed on Liar, glowing like twin moons through the swirling fog. It stood taller than any animal Jonas had ever studied. Sally's shoulders nearly level with Liar's head. Its limbs unnaturally long, muscles twisting beneath coarse gray fur. But it was the way it moved. Every step too calculated, too intelligent. No wild beast moved like that. Jonas could taste fear like metal on his tongue. Liar inched forward, fists trembling, breath cracking in the cold air. Ashen and Naira struggled to stand again, shaking off dust and blood. Voss blocked Jonas with a low, warning growl, refusing to leave the boy's side. The creature inhaled deeply, sniffing, recognizing Liar. The way a hunter recognizes prey it has chased for years. Its white eyes flicked with hunger and hatred. Jonas whispered, "Liar. What is that thing?" Liar didn't look away from the monster. "It's called a Hollowfang. My father tracked it for 10 years. Jonas's breath caught. "I thought that was just a legend." "No," Liar whispered, voice cracking. "And it killed him." The Hollowfang lunged. Lio are shouted words Jonas had never heard before. Sharp commands in an ancient dialect his father must have taught him. Ashen, Varric stance. Nyristria flank. The wolves launched forward instantly, their movements perfectly coordinated. Ashen intercepted the Hollowfang swing, biting down on its arm with bone-crushing force. Naira darted low, striking the creature's legs. Voss roared and barreled toward its chest. Jonas watched, stunned. This wasn't random fighting. This was a trained formation. A boy leading 3 wolves like a battlefield commander. The Hollowfang screeched a metallic, sickening sound that rattled Jonas's bones. It twisted violently, knocking Ashen aside and slamming Naira into the dirt. Voss managed to clamp onto its shoulder, but the creature's claws slashed across his back, sending him rolling. Liar's voice broke with desperation. "Stop hurting them, please." The Hollowfang paused at his cry, head tilting. It recognized the boy's weakness. Jonas's instincts screamed, "Liar, back up, run." But Liar didn't move. His eyes shimmered with tears. "I can't run. That's what got my father killed." Jonas felt his stomach drop. "What do you mean?" Liar's small hands curled into fists. "My father tried to draw it away from me. He died because I hesitated. Because I was scared. He took a trembling step toward the monster. I won't run again." The Hollowfang crouched, muscles coiling like steel cables, ready to strike. "Liar!" Jonas shouted. "Get behind me." But before Jonas could reach him, a low, furious howl sliced through the mist. Ashen, the lead wolf, rose again, his fur bristling, amber eyes igniting like fire. With a roar louder than thunder, he hurled himself at the Hollowfang. Naira and Voss rose seconds later, battered but unbroken, joining Ashen with renewed fury. Together, the 3 wolves forced the Hollowfang backward inch by inch. Jonas grabbed Liar's arm. "Come on, we have to move." "No," Liar said through his tears. "I have to end this." Jonas stared at him. "You're 10 years old." Liar shook his head slowly. "No, I've been training for this since I could walk." Suddenly, the Hollowfang twisted free and leaped high into the air, landing behind the wolves and directly in front of Leo. Jonas screamed, "Liar!" But the boy didn't flinch. Instead, he reached into his coat and pulled out a small metallic capsule glowing faint blue dot. Jonas blinked. "What? What is that?" Liar's eyes met his. "My father called it the seal of binding. He created it to trap the Hollowfang forever." Jonas's pulse skyrocketed. "Then use it." "I can't," Liar whispered, fear shaking his voice. "It only works if the Hollowfang touches me. It has to choose me as its target, or the seal won't activate." Jonas staggered back. "That's suicide." The Hollowfang crouched again, preparing to pounce on the boy who stood motionless, capsule glowing in his palm. Ashen howled desperately. Naira lunged forward in terror. Voss slammed his body between Liar and the TA. And the monster, but it was too late. The Hollowfang sprang toward Liar with a roar that shattered the night hand. Liar stood his ground, tears falling as he whispered, "For you, Dad. I won't run anymore." Asterisk the Hollowfang sailed through the air like a living nightmare, claws outstretched, jaws unhinged, aiming straight for Liar's heart. Time slowed. The fog froze. Jonas's scream tore from his throat, but the boy didn't move. Liar stood with his small feet planted firmly on the broken concrete, hands trembling but steady, the glowing capsule burning blue in his grip. Ashen, Naira, and Voss leaped desperately, but they were too far away. The creature was already upon him. Asterisk the Hollowfang's claws scraped against Liar's chest, just enough to draw a thin line of blood. The moment its skin made contact with the boy's, the capsule in Liar's hand exploded with blinding blue light. The forest lit up like lightning had struck it. The Hollowfang screeched in agony as swirling chains of shimmering blue energy burst from the capsule, wrapping around its limbs, its throat, its massive torso. The beast tried to twist free, but the chains tightened, dragging it backward and slamming it into the ground. Liar collapsed to his knees, chest heaving, pain shooting through him. Jonas rushed forward, catching him before he hit the ground. "Liar, Liar, look at me. Are you okay?" The boy forced a weak smile. "It touched me. That's all the seal needed." Ashen limped over, placing his head gently on Liar's shoulder. Naira and Voss circled them protectively, Voss growling at the Hollowfang still thrashing inside the glowing cage. The ground shook violently. Jonas stared in disbelief as the creature's form seemed to unravel, dark mist peeling off its body like layers of smoke. Liar whispered, "It's not dying. It's being sealed." A deep rumble echoed through the trees as the glowing chains pulled the Hollowfang's shadow backwards, down into the cracked earth, into a shimmering blue doorway that hadn't been there seconds before. A gate, a portal, a prison built for monsters like it. Liar closed his eyes. "I can feel it. The seal is working." The Hollowfang released one final furious howl before its body dissolved completely into the portal. Then, with a thunderous crack, the gate sealed itself shut and vanished, leaving only silence. The fog thinned. The air cleared. The forest breathed again. Jonas exhaled shakily. "It's over," he whispered. "You did it, Liar. You sealed it." But Liar didn't smile. His hands clutched his father's pendant tightly. "No," he murmured. "It's not over. The Hollowfang was hunting me." "But not only me." Jonas frowned. "What do you mean?" Liar lifted trembling fingers toward the cracked concrete where the portal had closed. "My father said there were others. More creatures like this one. He spent his life keeping them away from our world." Jonas's heart sank. "So he trained you to continue his work." Liar nodded slowly. "And the wolves. They weren't just his partners. They were guardians of the seals. When my father died, they came to me because they knew I had to finish what he started." Ashen nudged him, as if confirming the truth. Jonas swallowed, emotion tightening his throat. "You're just a child. You shouldn't carry something this heavy." Liar's eyes glistened with tears. "I never wanted to. But if I don't, the seals will break. The Hollowfang won't be the last." Jonas knelt in front of him, gripping his shoulders. "Then you won't do it alone. I'll help you. I'm not leaving you to fight monsters in the dark." Liar blinked up at him with surprise. No one ever stayed before. Jonas smiled softly. "Well, I'm not everyone." The wolves stood beside them, battered but proud. Their shadows merged with the night, stretching long across the forest floor. 3 silent warriors and 1 small boy who had already faced more than most adults ever would. Liar wiped his tears. "Then let's go home. The wolves need healing. And I think I do too." Jonas lifted him gently. "Come on, kid. We'll figure this out together." As they walked through the clearing, the fog parted around them like a curtain opening to a new story. The wolves followed, limping but strong, each step echoing Liar's courage, for the first time in years. The boy didn't feel like he was walking alone, and somewhere, beneath the earth where the Hollowfang had been sealed, something ancient stirred, watching, waiting. But it would have to face Liar Hale someday, and he would not face it alone.